Papa was dead. Our lives changed then. We moved into Glenview House, Papa's place. It was a mansion near the centre of town. Debs and I didn't want to live there, and we cried all the way from Stroughton Park. Papa ran Glenview as a hotel, but it was our home. It had 13 bedrooms and a commercial kitchen, with a huge larder full of catering tins of ratatouille. There was a ghost in room 4, and steps from the back garden led to pleasure gardens with tennis courts and bowling greens, dog turds, tramps and prostitutes. My sister and I lived in the cellar to start with. It had been full of creepy furniture and there was slime growing on the walls, though once it was damp-proofed and painted magnolia, it was a cosy little burrow. I started secondary school around the time we moved. I was a bit behind with music at Bournemouth School. Mum had begged me to have violin lessons when I was younger, but I didn't get very far. It's very hard to play a tune on a violin. I was 13 when the piano arrived. Dad bought it for £100. Every home should have a £100 piano. Dad opened the lid and raised his eyebrows. There was a slight but deliberate dramatic pause. Then he slammed into the keys and rattled out some rock and roll. It was amazing. I never heard him play. I'd no idea that he could. I hugged him and demanded to be shown how to make a noise like that. He taught me Blue Moon. I liked school. I took a 17 bus every morning, a yellow double-decker. It ran against the flow, away from the town in the morning rush. Peter Arnold also got on at my stop. He was a bad dribbler, but a good talker. We talked all the way. Danny Collier and his brother Duncan also got on the bus at Beachy Road. They were the coolest boys in school. After he completed his education, Duncan, the older one, was in a band called Mulberry Futt. They were famous for having 17 guitar players. Danny, the younger one, was the bass player in Readers' Wives. They were brilliant, famous for all kinds of reasons. I sat next to the guitar player's brother in chemistry. I liked chemistry. I was drawn by the neat test tubes, the flames from the burner, the little vials of chemicals with unstable and toxic qualities. Jimmy Stubbs was my best friend then. We put our chemistry sets together and tried to make them explode, and we joined the Sea Scouts. The Scoutmaster lived with his mum. One Saturday he invited me over to his house. I said, "What for?" He said, "Monsters." When I arrived for Monsters, there were a couple of other boys there. He was wrestling with one of them, Brian, from Otters Patrol. They were making monster noises. I must have arrived too late for Monsters, as the next thing was that we all dressed up, me, Brian, and Tim from Badgers, as girls, with frocks and wigs and lipstick, and the Scoutmaster was filming us singing along to his old record player. It was him who gave me my first break in show business. Possibly as a result of my performance in drag, I won the role of Big Brownie in the Gang Show. I joined my first band in J. Burtsmell's bedroom in Charminster. It would be hard to find a more deliciously normal place than Charminster. The biggest shop sold fish. It wasn't clear if it was a shop or a hobby that had gone haywire. The front of the shop was quite ordinary looking, but it went on, and the fish got weirder as you went deeper inside, just like the sea. We were 15, and Jay's mum had recently started going out with a bass player. He'd given Jay an electric guitar. Jay plugged it into his stereo and showed me how to play Whole Lotta Love by Led Zeppelin. Or maybe it was the theme music from Top of the Pops. It was hard to tell. It didn't matter. We knew then that we would start a band and be brilliant. I decided I would play keyboards. Synthesizers had arrived from the future. They had the same kind of appeal as spaceships. Mark Pepin, my new best friend, was going to play drums. I'd spent a long time listening to Blue Monday by New Order. It was so grey and beautiful. I went to a keyboard demonstration at a big hotel with my dad. They had all the latest synthesizers there and had synchronized all the keyboards so that they all played Blue Monday at the same time. It was too much for me. So was the keyboard. It was £600. I decided to play bass instead. Mark got his drum kit. I got the bass for my 16th birthday in November, but I had to wait until Christmas for an amplifier. Then I wasn't allowed to have it for another week for bad behaviour. I managed to find it, though, in the loft. Jay didn't seem to be taking the band very seriously, but Mark and I played together in the cellar. Mark arrived one Sunday and told me he'd invited Dominic White to come round with his guitar. I was furious. Dom White was a hippie with no social skills. His mum dropped him off in her Mini, full of amplifiers and guitars. We lugged everything downstairs. Dom made it very obvious that he thought I was a middle-class twat. I offered him a gin and tonic, but he ignored me. He was fiddling around with a soldering iron and a huge box that said Vox on it. Mark and I went upstairs. Mum said, "Is that Dominic White?"
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.